You're listening to REIAcast, a podcast of the Southwest Florida Real Estate Investment Association. REIAcast brings together a variety of real estate entrepreneurs from all over the world to share tips and ideas. The core purpose of the Southwest Florida REIA is to help members become more profitable and successful through networking, education, and empowerment. Here are your hosts, Jeff Tamarello and Michael Lyons.
I am Jeff Tamarello, one of the directors of the Southwest Florida REIA, joined by Mike Lyons, the other director of the Southwest Florida REIA. How you doing, Mike?
Good, man. How are you doing?
Good. So I'm speaking at the general meeting coming up next week, and there are seeing some fascinating stuff doing this for the meeting. Just start, and ironically, I actually have a little time. But I'm spinning some stuff different ways and finding some really kind of fascinating stuff. Let me go ahead and share my screen so everybody can see the different spreadsheets.
Sure.
All right, so this is one spreadsheet I use where there's lots of fun stuff to go over. Now, this is May of 22 versus May of 25. So one of the biggest things, I enjoy watching people dance around of whether it's a correction, whether it's not. There's some agents that, well, if you can't, you have to project positivity in all things. And or that stuff catches on like wildfire. You better not say it. And honestly, what people want to know is the truth.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a county-wide, this is Lee County MLS all data. So every residential type, and there's no land in there's no multifamily, but this is every residential type in Lee County, Florida.
Gotcha.
And if you take from May of 22 to May of 25, we're down average price 13%, median price down 12. That is a correction. So we can check the box and we can all move on with our lives. I mean, if it goes down, say another 8%, then you can check the crash box. And then everybody can go say they bought in a crash.
We should do a video solely with it, like it's a crash. It should be the whole.
Yeah, just like angels strumming a harp and white lights and just crash. So many people want '08 to happen again. Most of all, you and I.
Oh yeah, let's say I want it to be worse than '08. But,
yeah, I'm looking for a beachfront house for $5. That's my goal.
I'll up you to 7. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'll be able to buy like 4 or 5 of them. But nobody wants that sort of generational correction to happen because we've all lived through it and actually understand really how to play in it, the Rolodex, everything we would need to really succeed. Another really interesting thing that then versus now, look at the year built jumping up. It's a lot of new construction trading, but more importantly, that dollars per square foot, 232 versus 201. So, I'm not saying that the cost to build is indicative of the median dollars per square foot, but that's a pretty decent drop, 13%. Now, imagine you're a builder who started building in 2022 or somebody who hired a builder to spec a house to make money, and you're looking at a 13% drop in just dollars per square foot. That's why there's so many my new favorite term, accidental landlords.
Mm-hmm.
So you just come to the point where I'll put a tenant in it and see what happens. If you have the staying power on a long enough timeline, it actually will do just fine for you. But when I'm looking at that, technically we are in a correction. I'm pretty sure May of 25 was the peak. May of 22 was the peak. But when you look at this, and cash sales percentage 49 versus 37, that's significant. 37 is still 24%. Pretty strong.
At 24% difference, but still, how many markets can say they have 37, close to 38% of their market being bought in cash?
Yeah,
that's very strong.
Here we have May of 24 versus 25. Cash percentage 39, cash percentage 37. So it looks like we're finding a floor with the cash percentage for sure, and in the high 30s is amazing because everybody wants to point out. It was ironic in 2005, about 5% of our sales were cash. By 2009, 70% of our sales were cash. So It's one thing to watch as the cash trails percentage goes up. That's actually meaning the market's really grinding through, but we haven't had the price reductions remotely like we had before.
No, and I
So,
think the other part too is we've talked about the distressed properties. There's not bank owned foreclosures, short sales being put on the market in any kind of um, volume. So that impact, that huge drop that we saw back then, I just don't see any numbers that would indicate that that's going to happen.
yeah,
Uh,
now here's one more that I found really interesting. What I did on this one, this is May of 24 versus May of 25, and
okay.
I took out the new builds basically. 24 is missing 24 and 25 year builds,
Okay. Okay.
and 23 is missing 23 and 24 year builds. Check out the cash percentage. So, and this goes without saying, the lenders are buying down rates, they're giving away. So if you're a financed buyer, you are leaning more towards that. But the builders are so geared towards attracting finance buyers because that helps keeps their comps up that it looks like more the resale market looks just like the peak. I mean, 46.8 to 46.1. So that kind of blew me away. So the resale market as a whole is still capturing plenty of cash buyers. And if you're a cash buyer, you honestly can get more value than like I'm talking to a builder now, and they're like, "Well, we want to for your cash buyer, we want to write this duplex up at 450, and we'll give the cash buyer a $30,000 credit." Of and I mean, I understand why they're doing what they're
Mhm.
doing, but
I get it.
for a cash buyer, unless you're trying to raise your basis, which isn't sometimes the worst idea,
Yeah.
but unless you're trying to raise your basis, I don't understand. You know what I mean? It's so focused on one market that they're kind of ignoring another market.
Yep. Well, right now
So,
it's the hype too. The hype associated with brand new construction, with all the upgrades, all the incentives, all that they can do for a buyer. I mean, I get it. But if
well,
you're an investor,
if you're particularly a first-time home buyer, you want to get a flood zone X as new as humanly possible because you don't have flood insurance, and the newer builds, not only more energy efficient, they're also going to be cheaper to insure. I mean,
correct,
without a doubt.
100%. Yeah.
So, I
And
mean,
I'll say this too. We've mentioned this in other meetings or other discussions. The new construction fared extremely well in really tough hurricanes we've had. So you get
yeah.
Ian was horrible. I managed hundreds of properties, had to drive every single one of them with my staff, and the new ones we did good. You had some minor issues with the roof, ridge vents and such, but generally speaking, they did incredible. But the lower lying older properties got rocked. I mean, it's just that's kind of is what it is. But no, there's a lot of incentive for a brand new buyer looking to buy their first home or whatever with the incentives they're offering, buying down the mortgage rates. It just makes sense. I get it. I totally get it. So
But the cash percentage, when you backed out the 2 years of new builds, that was kind of surprising. I mean, that's
yeah,
almost 50%.
yeah, that's incredible. Yeah, it really is. It
So
really
that,
is.
and that cash buyer is just an underlying stability. And, one other thing we're going to talk about in this is really, everybody's talked about the silver tsunami forever. And it was mainly in reference to the boomers were going to take all their money out of the stock market at once and crash it. And that's why you should buy gold. It was always, there's always the fear comes with some sort of a pitch. It's just the way way it works. But the silver tsunami, in my opinion, is here in particularly in Southwest Florida. But I was talking to somebody who was like, there's a lot of homes listed, but there's just not a lot of cheap inventory. And I was like, well, you've got technically a lot of the boomer generation is selling their homes. And if you think they're going to give the stuff away, get on Marketplace right now and try and get a good deal on a golf cart from an old guy.
Yeah.
And
Good luck. Take some anxiety medicine before you start negotiating.
yeah, I mean, they don't that's a generation that likes their money and knows how to keep it. So, I mean, good for
Mhm.
them. That's an important trait to have a
Yep.
quality life is, be able to keep some money that you made, and they're very good at it. Most of
There
them,
are really,
not all.
it's
There's some exceptions.
I've had to change not my thought process necessarily on this, but like I have clients that are in that bracket. and they can be challenging to work with. At the same time, they make you better at what you do, more detailed, more thorough in what you're working on. But there's been times where I had to go, really, we're still talking about this, like they like over little minor things, but they will die on that hill, man. They will keep every
Yeah.
penny and die on that hill, regardless of how minuscule it is. So
Yeah, now and then I did a couple other just some fun, interesting stuff. Let me get to it before I fire it up.
sure,
But
sure,
the screen share, but it's going to be an interesting talk. I'm still figuring out what exactly I'm going to talk about. Because I do this for me. I do this so that I can, maybe not blow myself up.
sure.
So, because the last thing you want to do is be in your mid 50s and blowing yourself up. It's pretty hard to recover.
Oh yeah, no, that would be
All
not fun.
right. Here we have, this is an interesting part of the spreadsheet that I rarely share. This is city. This was probably about 4 or 5 days ago I did this, so extremely dated information. Could have all completely changed, but I doubt
Yeah,
it.
yeah. Gonna go with
Beneath,
probably not. Yeah,
yeah, beneath like the active numbers, the number, actively listed at that point when I dumped this out. And it's now because there's 13,000 active listings, it's a little bit to export this stuff from Excel or from the MLS. But standing inventories from the height of season, we're in the 15,000 range. We're in the low 13,000. So a decent amount has expired and a decent amount sold. I think we're at about 8.7, 8.8 months inventory. 6 months is typically that balanced market. Really not that far. But what's interesting, so say you're interested in, I use this as great data. I use this for Bonita Springs. All right. Say I want to flip. There's 1,505 sales in the last 12 months. Okay, 125 a month generally on average selling Bonita. So say I'm a young, energetic flipper. I only need to capture one of the 125 buyers. So, that's a decent market to where compared to St. James City, on average, is about 8 a month. So you're going to you need to budget a longer hold time. Cape Coral, 454 a month sold. Now, Cape Coral's 8 months inventory. Estero's been grinding. Estero's down to 7 months inventory. Lehigh, 7. So I always laugh when you talk to people because there's these really weird biases about Lehigh, and it's probably got the lowest vacancy rate in the commercial market, and it's the healthiest residential market by far. The numbers match up real well too because they don't really have, golf access and riverfront and golf, all that stuff.
they
So
don't have
it's
those
more
weird market segments that kind of skew the numbers, like a
yeah, it's a
Bonita
more
Springs.
homogeneous market, but I mean, my favorite is you've got the average listing versus the average sales price. There's a 24% difference in Bonita, 21% difference in Lehigh. Okay. Now that is
You mean Cape
okay
Coral?
because, yeah, I'm sorry, Cape Coral, because you have golf access. There's a big difference between the utilities paid and being in the N1 utility zone right now for desirability and pricing.
Oh yeah.
So, but and then when you take the average pending versus the average sold, I'm looking at Bonita and the Cape, the pendings are going lower than the solds from the end of season. And then you'll still have a list of sale percentage to apply to this as well. So, Fort Myers Beach, which that Reventure Consulting guy, his apps, some stuff's been getting shared on it. And according to his app, Fort Myers Beach is the most undervalued place in Lee County. I would really love to stick my head under the hood on because old Nick Jarrell, I mean, he's called 36 of the last zero crashes in the last 18 months. So it's hilarious on YouTube. Every crash, every video. And what gets me, I say this, his data is not bad. If you can get through the engagement farming hype that he has to do so we can get enough views to make a living. And I'm sure he makes a living with people signing up on this app too.
Yeah.
But it's the first 90 seconds is we're all going to die today. You know
You've
what I
got
mean?
seconds to live.
Yeah,
Yeah.
everybody in Cape Coral has 15 seconds to live. And then about 90 seconds to about 3 minutes of that. And I've actually timed it with a stopwatch. And then he gets through that kind of hype. And then before you know it, the rest of the data is pretty good. There's some actionable stuff in there, but
He's
you know,
like, you're all gonna die. Please subscribe.
Yes, thank you. Have a great day. But he's doing what he's doing to make a living. I'm never going to begrudge somebody, and because if you choose to be excited about it, then so be it. Now, here's another, instead of taking that with the cities, we're taking it by the asset type. And when you look at mid-rise condos, who do you think is most affected by these milestones? It's mid-rise condos, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because
Oh
there's just
yeah.
more to worry about. The high rises tend to be different, just a different build, a lot of newer high rises, and they're kind of more luxury properties, so they went
Right.
big on them. The mid-rises, not so. But when I look at months inventory, 12 months inventory in manufactured homes, that's that boomer birth rate chart going. Single
Yep.
families only 8. Ironically, if you ask everybody, go to like the Cape Coral Residents Forum, and they're all going to tell you it's the new builds. And when I look at single families actually got the least amount of inventory in the whole market. High-rise condos are 23 months, but that's normal. There's always a lot of inventory because there's not a lot of buyers. And most of them price it, once you pay me, I'll leave my beautiful high-rise condo.
Hmm.
So, and that's kind of the way it is now. Anything HOA, particularly anything condo related, is struggling because, inflation has really jacked HOA up.
Well,
Insurance, particularly if you have a condo, say a mid-rise condo that's in a flood zone, them fees are getting a little rough.
yeah, but you know who jacked up the HOAs? The
Uh,
HOAs.
yeah, well, they
Yeah.
have to at some point. If the budget's real, this is the budget, folks, write your check. This is,
Yeah, well, no, well, that, but like, I gotta share this. We're talking about it. I love bashing HOAs. Uh, I got a letter for a violation from one of the owners we represent for grass coming up in the, not the cracks, but the creases in a driveway, little slots in the driveway. There was couple of weeds growing up supposedly in the driveway, and they had someone drive around and spend the time on taking pictures. And we're talking like, I mean, a weed you could have gone and picked up and like saved you a bunch of brain damage by not having
Mhm.
to send a letter and deal with the owner. And I was just like, we really got a letter. Someone took the time to send a letter for that. So they're their own worst enemy in my opinion.
Well, that's probably a rather fun to be around board member. I bet that
Mhm.
board member that took the time to do that and send it to the management company who has to do what they say because that's who hired them. I bet they're a great time at a party.
I mean, I just want to know how many cats they have. That was my first question.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Yeah, but that's condos. That's communal living and it's a democracy of your most busybody neighbors. It's just the
Mhm.
way it is. I mean, I tried living in an HOA and it was fun. My favorite was skinning a deer in the garage in a gated community, and outcome, oh, we shot it late and couldn't get it to the butcher, and look out, and there's the security guard in the golf cart with just his jaw on the ground, and we're like, "How you doing, bro?
What's up, man?
Hey, man, sorry about it. I felt it was better in here than the front yard." But yeah, when I look at this, I mean, this is some other stuff we're going to talk about. If you ask anybody what the issue is, they're going to tell you new build houses. Okay, generally the feeling on the street tends to be wrong. They
Agreed.
just tend to be wrong. And that's that recency bias. 2008, the problem was new construction because as an old guy I was having coffee with, I'll never forget. He's not a very data guy, but he just looks at me and he'd been in construction industry forever. And he goes, Jeff, this is the first time we've built 20,000 houses for the heck of it.
Yeah,
So,
because they had the operation to do so. But well, when people kind of blame the new construction, it's kind of like, well, yeah, they had a role to play, but a lot of things in the market happen, and it will correct itself. I don't think this will be anywhere close to what it will not be 2008. As much as I would love for that to happen, it's just not. It's not going to
I
happen.
mean, it's a long, hot summer. There should be some more negative price pressure coming through it.
Yeah,
So, and you see
I'm
what
not. That's
happens.
okay. That's okay.
Yeah. I
I'm
mean,
not opposed.
especially if you got a drop in mortgage rates as prices come down, I think you'll see people taking advantage of it. But to go back to the May versus May, I had somebody trying to tell me that this is an epic crash and everything's terrible, and I'm like, dude, we had 1,955 sales in May. The previous May was 2,077. Now 22 was 2,500, but that's when the whole country was locked in their house and baking banana bread and watching Tiger King.
Yeah.
So, you
Which,
know what I
hey,
mean?
time is never to be
And,
forgotten, man.
and
Just
you could
saying.
actually, go out to eat here. And my favorite was in Michigan where you could put your boat in the water, but you couldn't turn the motor on.
Speaking of boats, man, I remember being in Captiva Pass on my boat fishing, and someone's walking the beach. So it's Kea Costa Island. They're walking the beach, and because it's a national park, the marine, wildlife officers had to ask them to leave. They're out in the open, like they're in the middle of the beach, like there's no one around, and they had
They're
to ask
getting
them.
vitamin D, they're breathing healthy air, and they're getting exercise. We're afraid that's going to hurt you.
Yeah, this could be bad for all of us. Yeah, just the funniest thing. I was like, you've got to be. I remember walking out on the Burnt Store bars. You have to park your car, walk about I don't know, 20-minute walk out to the water, and then fish. And I came back to my car, and there was a warning on my car: if you find your vehicle here again, we're towing it. This is it's a closed national park due to regulations from the government. I'm like, I'm walking out in the woods, man. I'm by myself. Are you kidding me? So
Yeah.
that was interesting. So yeah, that was a weird time,
Or
man.
maybe they were just trying to have, that's a pretty good fishing spot. Maybe they were just trying to have it to
Keeping people
themselves.
out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm with that, actually.
Yeah,
I
let's
would
say stay
understand
away from
that.
a fishing spot. Yeah.
Yeah. You guys, this spot is really bad. The COVID's bad here.
It is
So,
unsafe. The sun here is different.
yeah, as he's running the redfish to the house. So,
That's right. Yeah. Don't mind the fish in the cooler, man. Yeah.
yeah, but yeah,
So,
it's an interesting time we're in. 1,955 sales. I mean, yes, it's down, prices are down, volume's down. It's the birth rate chart, there's less incoming retirees this year than last year, and that's going to keep going down. So the market's going to evolve, but ironically, that's not what everybody's worried about. Everybody that I see on socials are predominantly worried about the new construction houses. And I mean, even permits last month, I don't track it as much as I used to. I just read the report that comes out of FGCU. They do a pretty good job.
yeah,
And they've even really adapted that data to where you can export lifetime Lee County charts on housing permits, and it's great. It's pretty good data. And I know I've got from before when I quit tracking it, I've still got those spreadsheets and I matched it against what I had captured out of the reports to come out every month, and it's pretty good. So I'm just going to trust it. I mean, it's sometimes nice to be able to just use somebody else's stuff.
absolutely. Well, and I'll make sure too. One thing that might be good for your presentation is that birth chart that we discussed so many
Oh,
times.
it's gonna be on there. I mean,
Yeah.
we're gonna go through that. I mean, the inventory surge, in my opinion, is a combination. It's the silver tsunami, but importantly, it's a silver tsunami. If you look at some areas, like I live in Yacht Club Colony in North Fort Myers, we have a lot of inventory on the market, and almost everybody that's on the market is an older couple that can't with a low-lying house that can't possibly mentally survive another storm with storm surge flooding, and they're just done.
Yeah.
And we're starting to get some sales activity in there. For a while, it was kind of quiet, but prices have walked down. Somebody recently in there just bought a golf access house with it's a decent canal. Right on you're 3 minutes to open water, maybe five max in the river, and
Yeah.
I think it was 275.
Wow.
It's a smaller block house, but I mean at 275, you could lift that, put a pool in, put a dock in, you got a pretty great house,
Oh yeah. What do you
and
think the cost would be to lift it? I mean, I know you're guessing, so it'll be a little bit
it's
of a guess.
all over. I mean,
Is it okay
I've seen one guy quote 400 and a different guy quote 135.
for the same house?
Pretty much the same house.
Oh wow. Yeah.
So, well, I mean, it's the problem. It's one of the opportunities we have in our areas is, I mean, not all contractors are created alike, and honestly, the guy that was bidding 400 was probably sending it to another guy he knows who was sending it to the guy at 135.
You're probably
You
right.
know, and then
You're probably right.
everybody, and I get it. Boats are nice, four wheelers are nice. You know what I mean? We're all here trying to make a living, but I was just like, guy in the RIA sent me the two bids, and I was just like, you got to be kidding me.
Yeah. That's not
So,
well, I'd say too is contractor, just a little contractor 101. If the contractor is clean and the shoes have no their shoes are clean, they come all shiny and their hands act like they've never touched a hammer before, That's not a good contractor. He's
Oh, it's
not.
not a contractor. That's a salesman.
Yeah, and you want the contractor.
Yeah.
You want the contractor. So
I
they'll know what
think
they're
we
talking
just called Ian out, or did we? No, we
about.
didn't.
Oh, he's got strong hands, man. It's cool. Yeah, he's
Yeah.
legit. I wouldn't
Yeah,
question him
we're
on that.
sorry, Ian.
Yeah, we're sorry. Don't box us. He used to box.
Yeah, he did. Yeah,
Oh.
that's like a bowling ball that used to box. It's not a good idea.
He said it, not me.
Yeah. So
Uh,
yeah, it's an interesting time. It's not the end of the world. You do have some weird modalities. You know, you've got the new construction thing playing out, and ironically, that's really where the finance buyers go and where they probably should go. Cash buyers appear to be diving more into the resale market. I mean, if I was taking a shot at a like I'm looking right now, you know, at some point I will move to Pine Island. So that's why my most feverish dream is that, you know, 08 happens so I can literally live on Malachey Pass. You know, you can roll up and you can
yeah.
keep your boat there too, Mike.
Hey,
So,
thank you. I'll build a dock in the back.
yeah, no, you will build the dock. So,
That's
but
right. You pay for it.
the you know, but seriously, like at some point I'm going to, you know, I'm going to sail off into the sunset and move to Pine Island. And that's that's the stuff that's cheap right now. Like there's some and you know, FEMA's rough. FEMA's having an impact on our market. My joke is when the people at Lee County Building Department come to work, the FEMA guy's already there standing behind them drinking coffee, watching what they're doing. And
Oh
not
yeah.
really, but you
No, no, I
know.
get what you're saying. No, I've dealt with them recently. I mean, I've dealt with them on a couple of remodel jobs, and yeah, they're ruthless, man. They're tagging everything, and they want that money. They want everything up done exactly how to par. Which I get the standard we want, but at the same time, there's a point when it's like, all right, we're really gonna critique that? Are you kidding me? I won't give an example, but it's just they're a little much in my opinion. That's all I'll say.
Well,
There's time.
that's anymore you do private provider. If you've got a remodel going and you don't do private provider,
Yeah.
you're just it's just it's so much more work. The
Yep.
amount of time and effort you're going to expend not going private provider, whatever money you save, in my opinion, it's
Not
not
worth it.
worth it.
Nope, not worth it.
So,
Totally agree. So, well, man, we're looking forward to your presentation, man. It's going to be a great meeting.
yeah, this should be fun. It's definitely I'm actually learning a lot doing it. That cash percentage of pulling out the new builds was kind of a shock to me when I did it.
Yeah, it really was. I wouldn't have guessed that, but I guess it makes sense. I mean, obviously, you're not paying cash for $350,000 to $450,000 brand new house necessarily. If you can get
Well, you
really
should. You could, and I mean the cost to keep is, you know, because there's two things in real estate. There's cost to buy and cost to keep it. And
yeah,
the new builds have a lower cost to keep. You, in theory, shouldn't have to fix some stuff for a while,
true.
and your insurance is cheaper.
Well,
So
my
I,
only point being the cash associated with buying or acquiring them. I see why you're getting financing or why individuals are getting financing to get them because the builders are providing so many incentives, buying down the mortgage rates. There's some incentive for people who don't have the cash, $400,000 thrown out. So I mean, I get it, but I was surprised how many. What was it? 2 years you took out? 3 years?
what do you mean?
Like the last 2 or 3 years of
I
brand new.
just took out, yeah, the last 2 years for the year built.
That's
So
incredible. That really is. That
yeah,
really,
it's gonna, and we'll see how that goes. But interesting. I mean, the manufactured home market's biggest opportunity I see, because there's
I
still
agree.
plenty of buyers, particularly as prices go down. I'm seeing some nice neighborhoods, 55 and up that are starting to show properties under 100, and that hasn't been the case for years.
Long
And I
time.
even
Yeah. No,
analyzed one neighborhood in depth, and I really went back and I was looking at who's still here that bought before '08, and it was like only 12% of the people in the neighborhood.
wow.
Almost all of the vast percentage of the people that live there bought from 14 and newer. So, I mean, since the last cycle, we've literally turned over this whole place with a majority of the people also having bought since 2020. So that's that's pretty good for for that little market. That's the joke is when you go to 55 and up when you're young, you're going to stay in shape because you're going to be moving refrigerators and helping everybody. Could you please come over and move this, and then
That's
you get a
probably a
good
lot of truth
workout.
there. Yeah, I don't know. But you know me though, I'm all in on the mobile home. I think that's a huge opportunity from an investment standpoint for cash flow. I think it's incredible. I
Although
love.
55 and up in an HOA, I'm not.
No, no, I wouldn't touch that. But I mean, I look for I look for, I don't care if there's an HOA necessarily, but I found there's a few locations where they have an inoperable HOA. It exists, but they don't enforce anything. Their rules don't even say anything about 55 and older. And they have city water, and you could buy the land, and there's no
All
land.
they're doing in that one is reselling county water. It's not like they have their own wells or anything.
Oh, yeah,
They
exactly.
literally have a master meter, and then I'm like, can I buy that? I want to buy
Yeah, I
that
want to buy
business.
Hey, I got to own a well up in Georgia, man. That pays me well. That's a great way to make a living,
A
man.
well pays you well.
The well pays me well, man. That should be our next video.
Yeah. Well, I enjoyed talking to you, Mike. This
Hey,
should
man.
be a fun meeting, man.
Looking forward to it. I'll see you, brother.
This concludes this edition of REIAcast. Be sure to subscribe to receive our next episode. You can also subscribe at our website, www.swflreia.com. See you at a meeting soon. Please let us know if you have a suggestion for a future episode.